Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis, and today we are going to be talking about the entire crypto market. So sit back, relax, and before we fully jump into this video, I do just want to ask guys to please leave a like on this video. It does help the channel grow immensely, and of course I always do greatly appreciate it. Now, with all of this in mind, today we are going to be talking about a lot of factors. Obviously, I'm going to be addressing Bitcoin. I'm going to be addressing some altcoins, and we're really going to be talking about what to watch for on the micro, but also even on the macro views. So let's just dive in and let's talk about a few things. So first off, we're going to be talking about Bitcoin. Obviously, I will have a chart on Bitcoin here shortly. We will talk about that and address that. But first, I want to talk to you guys about one major thing. Shout out to Encrypt30, by the way. If you guys don't follow him on Twitter, you guys should definitely go follow him at Encrypt30. Now, with this in mind, he showed us in the Discord the top wallets. Now, this is the third largest address holding Bitcoin. They currently have a balance of 126,000 Bitcoin, currently worth about $5.2 billion. The reason why I'm bringing this account up and the reason why we had this attention brought to us by, of course, Encrypt30 was this 1,500 Bitcoin sell. Now, this could be a profit take of, $61.5 million. But if we look back on March 1st, where 1,500 was sold again, if we go back on Bitcoin to March 1st, let's go back on the 1 month span and let's go to March 1st. So here is March 4th. This is where we were hitting resistance. And look at what happened, 2 days later. We had this massive correction. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to be a pure on indicator that we're going to drop in price. You got to remember that the last time that any Bitcoin was actually sold out of this wallet in terms of 1,500 was back in November, November 8th to be specific. Let's go back in time real quick. So let's go back to November 8th real quick. So here was around November 8th. This was around the topping point or the all-time high of Bitcoin where this was sold. So this account has been selling at near topping point figures on Bitcoin. And I'm just saying right now, okay, as altcoins are looking very good, things are looking pretty good in the markets, I would say that this could be a determining factor on if Bitcoin is about to have a massive correction. Now, it doesn't have to have a massive correction down to, like 20K and stuff like that where people were calling for, but I will say this, okay? Let's go over to the major indices. Major indices looked a little rough today. We're actually going to be addressing those in this video as well. But more so, I want to talk to you guys about Bitcoin real quick and the level that we could correct down to on Bitcoin. Of course, this is on the micro viewpoints. This is not the macro long-term views on Bitcoin or anything like that. But let's actually address this real quick. So overall, you guys do see where that resistance point is that we have been hitting off of. This is the weekly chart, I mind you guys. So let's go back to the 1 day and really kind of address this on the daily. So again, we're just kind of trading in this sideways momentum, having those higher lows being put in place. You guys can see the higher low being at about like 40.1K, possibly, right, being confirmed. But ultimately speaking, I have been eyeing this 39.6K level. Now, don't know why we would see a major profit take being taken here unless we were seeing this being a little bit of, again, a resistance point similar to back here in March. This is the March 1st to March 2nd time frame. Now, if we repeat this same exact, dropping point, now this is not to make you guys get concerned or anything like that. I'm just saying if this is the case, then we would be seeing these demand zones down here being met. And I know that I'm kind of manipulating the bars graph a little bit, but that is just to make sure that the candle is at around the same point. So here we have it. This would bring us down to roughly, this $37,000 level, aka testing that major support zone. On the weekly chart, you can really kind of see that major support being there. This is where I would say the lowest point we kind of go would be at around this support zone. Of course, wicks below that are totally fine, but that's the only case that I could really kind of make of, selling at this range. I don't believe that we are in a bear market or anything like that, but if we do correct down to that level, we're looking at a significant drop of about 8.27%. On altcoins, this could be a little bit more, a little bit less technically. Bitcoin dominance has been dropping, allowing for a lot of altcoins to start to, have a little bit of a pop in them, if you will. And here we have, Bitcoin dominance kind of making its way down. If we do have a major impulse on this, it will most likely be at around a support zone, maybe at about like 42% roughly. But ultimately speaking, that's the only case that I could really kind of make for selling Bitcoin at around this range. And like I said, the last time that this was, 1500 was sold was around that topping point. So I'm just saying, play with caution here. But I will say this: the bullish case, wow, the bullish case for the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, and even the Dow Jones is on the screen right now. We need to break above the 618 on the S&P 500 for us to actually be very bullish. I've been talking to you guys about the major indices for a while now, but this looks very good. Looks like we are finding support at about the 382. Would not, be a bad thing if we did kind of correct down to this level, bounce off of this level, and of course go to the 618 to break out. The Nasdaq, similar structure as well. Even on the weekly, you guys can see it hitting some major resistance here. We will really need to break out of that 382 level on the Nasdaq's. Roughly about 14,000 is the level. If we don't break out of this, very soon, we'll probably range sideways in a sideways momentum similar to what we did back here before. Of course, this does get tested yet again. The support at about 236, 13,000, almost 500. Now, with this in mind, the Dow Jones actually has a very similar structure to it. It's just a little bit less of, resistance that we are being met with. But for the most part, the structure is we need to break out of the 618. The 618 is the major target for all three of these. But the Nasdaq is actually trading below the 382, so we need to break out of the 382 before we even target the 618 on the Nasdaq. On the long term, these look great though. I've been addressing that as well. Like here's the Nasdaq on the macro view, one of the strongest 3-day moves in history, extremely rare. Never happened during the 2000-2007 bear markets. Marked the start of historic rallies, classic bull market behavior. I do believe that we will see a major, bull market along the lines for stocks. And here we have that 3-day, structure being put in place. You guys see where we are currently. And I think that when we're talking about right now, when we are addressing the Dow Jones, the Nasdaq, and even the S&P 500 and stuff like that. Sorry, I actually went to the dollar at that first one. But when we are adjusting all three of these indices, it is the idea on we need to break over the 618 to actually be in that, confirmed bull market on stocks. Once we do break up above this, it's really kind of confirmed that we will make all-time highs. Those all-time highs can lead us to anywhere between 52 to 6,000 on the S&P 500. On the Nasdaq, I've been addressing some of these levels. If we're going to about 6,000, we're going to about almost 22,000 on the Nasdaq, and on the Dow Jones. All right, I'm telling you guys, this is where we want to be. Very cautious with stocks because this is where we will see most likely a massive correction, but around 45,000. This 40 to 45K level is my target points. That is also where I do believe that stocks top out, and that's where I do see a major correction happening. On the dollar, again, we want to see a lot of weakness put in place here, but we are bouncing off of that weekly support of the 618. We want to see a massive breakdown below that. That will cause that surge on, of course, stocks and crypto. That's where we will see, things like the, total 3 going parabolic. This is the altcoin market. By the way, we are addressing this real quick simply because in terms of XRP, XLM, QNT, Hbar, your favorite altcoin, whatever the case may be, we are being met with major resistance here on the total 3. We need to break over the 236 or roughly almost 714.5 billion in terms of the market cap for this. We want to break over that and find a lot of strength similar to what we did back here, and that will lead us to all-time highs along the board. I will say this: the macro view on the altcoin market cap list really kind of prints a better picture for us. I do believe that we could target about $3 trillion for the overall altcoin market cap. This is not addressing Bitcoin and Ethereum, so you guys can kind of do the math in terms of the top 10 altcoins within this market and where they could go if they have about 3 to 10 to even 30% of market share value, because we do know that at some all-time highs like XRP hit about 30% in terms of market dominance. That'll be very, very significant. So I want you all to, just kind of, prepare. If we do see a correction on Bitcoin, with Bitcoin dominance at around 42.62%, we still will see a correction on most altcoins. XRP, I can kind of show you guys where we will, correct to if we do have a correction. So again, macro, view here, we are still looking at a fairly good level to really kind of be met with up here at about like 92 cents. We really want to break over that, similar to a lot of resistance. There's a ton of resistance on all of these charts. But if we don't break out, obviously a little bit of a correction is in store for us. And like I said, on Bitcoin, if we have an 8% drop, I would say most altcoins will drop to around roughly like 6%. If we have a 6% correction here, you're looking at like, again, the bottom of this structure being tested at about like 78.6 cents. And the same goes for like other altcoins like Hbar. We will see a little bit of a correction of about 6%. I know that is like 6% is really not that much. Realistically speaking, it will bring us down to these major demand zones, testing major support, having a strong bounce off of that level, and continuing on. And it's really just the idea on, are we going to see that correction, or are we going to have a major pump tomorrow? And honestly, right now, it's hard to say. We really want to watch the indices tomorrow. I'm going to definitely try to catch them as soon as possible once they do open, just to see how the day is going to go. But you guys can see the major supports being tested if we do have that drop. So it would technically, from a healthy market structure, make sense to have a correction along the boards a little bit here. Bitcoin's still hitting massive resistance. That's the only concerning factor to me on Bitcoin is just the major resistance levels that we are hitting, because as you guys do see, the resistance ever since going back as far as February has been a little bit of a lower point on resistance. You guys do see the resistance being met here at about like 42K. Previous one was about like 44K. Previous to that was a little bit higher in terms of like 44.5K. And it's looking a little bit rough, but overall, I do think that the next time that we target this resistance, it is going to be broken over. I think that we will see a major move on Bitcoin eventually, but I do think on the short-term aspect, yes, we could come down and test possibly, 39.6K. If this structure does get broken, if we do go lower, it will most likely be that 382 test of about 37.8K. I didn't really look at the reverse fib level on this, but if we can kind of look at this real quick. Sorry, I didn't know that I had the price indicator selected, but here we kind of have that structure being looked at in a little bit of a better light. I know that you probably can't see these levels, so let me kind of move this over real quick. So if we have a correction from this point on the reverse fib level, it would most likely be between the 618 to the 702. If we have that test of the 702, it would be at about 36.8K. I can kind of show you guys that percentage-wise drop. Here you guys have it. It would actually be a 10.47% drop in Bitcoin. So you're looking at roughly, possibly, depending on how high Bitcoin dominance goes, like an 8 to 12% drop on your favorite altcoin. So I just figured I would give you guys that quick update. On the macro views here, we are still looking very, very bullish on, on altcoins and Bitcoin in general. All of crypto looks very good for this year. Finances look very good still. It's just the idea that we are being met with major resistance, so we need to break over that resistance for us to actually be very bullish. But some altcoins are starting to break out. I told you guys about the OG legacy assets just yesterday or the day before yesterday, where I was watching EOS, Bitcoin Cash, Dash, etc., and they are starting to have a little bit of a nice impulse in them. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, up to you all. Have a beautiful day or beautiful night wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.